Nigel Farage is no longer a fringe protester. He leads a party that could plausibly hold the balance of power or even enter Downing Street. That makes his long record of credulity towards Russian propaganda a question of national security, not just political colour. The Telegraph framed this week's revelations about Nathan Gill, the former Reform UK leader in Wales, who has admitted to taking bribes to make a pro-Kremlin statement, or to make pro-Kremlin statements in general, as Farage's Russia's problem. That is too narrow. It is not his personal embarrassment alone. It exposes a culture inside Reform, Brexit, UKIP that has proven unusually hospitable to Moscow's narratives and money. Gill spent years as an MEP alongside Farage in UKIP and then the Brexit Party before fronting Reform in Wales. He's now admitted to accepting cash from Oleg Voloshin, a sanctioned former Ukrainian MP working with the Kremlin to pose questions and make speeches attacking Ukraine and flattering Russia. There's no evidence Farage knew of Gill's bribes, but there's no sign he objected to Gill's anti-Zelensky rhetoric either. The point is that a pro-Kremlin message could flourish unrebutted in Farage's circle. Now, I know that Farage and his cronies have attracted Russian attention because when I exposed Farage all those years ago, I was already teaching in Russia. And I went back to Russia after appearing on the BBC and giving a Daily Mail interview and all this sort of stuff, exposing the racism at the heart of Farage's UKIP then. And what was so fascinating was that there was a bevy of Russian bigwigs who wanted to hear my story and wanted to know if I wanted to stand for election, would I like their money? Would I like their money? What could they do? And I thought, no, I don't want this. I don't want this. And I feel sordid and slightly worried. And they talked about friends that they had in British politics. And I found it very disturbing. So I've kept my eyes open ever since. Farage's own record of swallowing Moscow's lies go back to that time when Crimea was invaded. Farage said the EU had provoked Putin, even as Russian troops were seizing Crimea and Donbass. With Syria in 2013 and 14, just before that, he publicly doubted Assad's responsibility for sarin attacks, despite UN inspectors proving regime culpability. In 2022, he condemned the full invasion of Ukraine, but immediately blamed EU and NATO expansion, a near verbatim echo of Putin's justification. He once named Putin the world leader he most admired and took money to appear on RT until the channel was banned, I'm told. He allegedly took money. This isn't an isolated slip, it's a long pattern of instinctively exonerating Moscow. Reform UK has now opened itself to cryptocurrency donations and lobbied the Bank of England for looser crypto rules. Crypto is notoriously hard to trace. You can break large sums into micro-donations that fall below reporting thresholds, and anti-corruption campaigners warn this creates a new backdoor for hostile states or oligarchs to buy influence. The Electoral Commission says no crypto donations have yet been reported, but that in itself signals a transparency gap. Gill's bribery plea shows how easily Russian money and messaging can enter this ecosystem. Combine that with crypto donations, weak electoral finance law, and Farage's habit of believing Kremlin talking points, and you have a structural vulnerability, not a single man's lapse. Would a British Prime Minister, as Farage, would Farage as British Prime Minister honour NATO's Article 5 if Estonia were attacked? His past rhetoric suggests doubt. He's questioned NATO's expansion, downplayed Russian imperialism, and might be swayed by whatever cover story Moscow invents next. Britain's biggest troop deployment is in Estonia. Our credibility as an ally would be on the line if Farage were in number 10. Boris Johnson this week called Farage's stance on Russia Extremely dangerous, and I think Boris is right. The Liberal Democrats demand a fresh Intelligence and Security Committee probe into reforms, Russian links. Anti-corruption NGOs want crypto donations banned or tightly regulated. The Russia Report of 2020 already warned that Moscow interference is commonplace. Successive governments left loopholes open. Reform has now become the first mainstream party to exploit them. This is not merely a Farage story, it is about Britain's vulnerability to covert funding and narrative warfare. St. Ignatius of Loyola is credited with saying, "Give me the child until he is 7 and I will show you the man." And the Kremlin long ago grasped a modern corollary. Shape the perceptions of future leaders early and you may shape their policies. Farage has proved remarkably receptive to Moscow's stories. The Gill case and the crypto loopholes show that the danger is not personal misjudgment, but a networked susceptibility, and Britain needs transparency and stronger law now before those susceptibilities reach number 10.